we proceed for the actual demo, I would like to create some context, some background, what we are going to talk about here. Here we are onboarding an applicant for life insurance. In a company, if a company has to provide life insurance to some applicant, they need to identify what is the risk associated to that applicant is. If a person does some dangerous activity, or if a person has dangerous hobby, like if a person does skydive, then probably it would be the riskiest person. So for that company, if a person does skydive, it would be high risk rating, and this would be our first rule. And then second rule would be that if a person has age less than 35, he would be a low risk person. So for a life insurance company, these two are my basic rules. If a person skydive, he is a high risk, and a person is less than 35 age, which would be a normal healthy person, his risk rating would be low. Now I would go ahead and put these rules in Corticon. So just to summarize once again, there are two rules. One rule is if applicant who skydive, risk rating is high, and if applicant is under 35 age, risk rating is low. And before I proceed, I would do some setting changes so that it would be visible to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, number of rules is quite less. It's nowhere near to a near situation. We just wanted to demonstrate the power of the Corticon.
Here, this is Corticon Studio. This is the interface where I would be putting the rules. Prabhu has already taken you through the various sections, but once again, this upper left part is where I put all my attributes and entities and attribute. Here, applicant is the entity, and his attribute could be his age, whether he does skydive, or his risk rating. And lower left part is all the projects that I would be covering. I would take you through all these projects one by one. This is a section where I would model all my rules. These are the conditions, and here I would put all the conditions and corresponding action over here. And in the lower right part, I have written down my business rule. This is my rule statement in a plain English language. That is the rule that I am going to implement. So my first rule is if applicant who skydive has high risk rating. Here in Corticon, we do not code the rules. We model the rules using the extensive list of operators provided by this software. No coding would be written, and you could easily understand how I have modeled the rules. And rules are modeled with drag and drop ease. So first rule is if a person does skydive, I select this attribute is skydive, drag it to the condition part, corresponding action. If a person is true, then action is risk rating high. And I would map this rule statement to the rule number. So you can see if I select the rule number, it highlights the rule statement and vice versa. So I modeled my first rule. I will save the sheet. Second rule is if applicant less than 35 years of age and he is low risk. So age attribute, age mentioning here 35, less than 35, risk rating low, mapping, and save. See how easy it was for me to model these two rules. I modeled these two rules in just less than a minute, and you guys everyone can easily understand how I have modeled them. No technical background is required to understand that. This software is so easy that even the business analysts can start working upon it. They could be productive in just 1 or 2 day training, they could start working on it. Okay. Now I would show you how I could test these rules that I just modeled using the studio itself. I do not have to write code there as well. This is rule sheet. It has 3 sections: input section, output and expected. In input section, this is a test case in which I have mentioned applicant named Tom and his age is 30, which is less than 35. And in expected column, I have mentioned that what should be the expected output for this scenario. And for a person, if age is less than 35, his risk rating is low, so I have mentioned over here. Now I would test it, and before I test it, I would deploy the rule sheet. When I deploy the rule sheet, what Corticon does behind the scene is it converts the business rule into executable code, and when run it, the output I would get within a fraction of a second. So here I would get the output, and since my expected output and my actual output are matching, black, bold, this is what it has been highlighted. If I select the heading, test case heading, it would give me the audit trail that this case has used this particular business statement or business rule, that applicant less than 35 years of age have low risk rating. I have tested it in the Corticon Studio itself. Now I would like to show you some very powerful features of Corticon that differentiates it from other business rule management systems available in market.
Excuse me. Can you put a condition over there that he is a skydiver?
This is the attribute.
A person who is age below 35 and is a skydiver. What are the outputs I want?
Yeah, the demo.
We will come to that part as well in subsequent. Here, this hyphen means that in this rule, we do not care about what that person's.
It's very good, sorry, because you can pick up this loophole, this fault, because it's only 2 rules, right? We're going to show you how Corticon can pick up that, what you just mentioned, that situation, right? Imagine if you have like 30 or 40 of them, you won't be able to know that, but Corticon can do it for you. We can close for you those gaps. Okay, they just mentioned about those
this is the gap in the rule what you have mentioned.
Yes.
And software will demonstrate that how software can pick up the gap. So that's what she is going to
No,
do.
my concern was that there were only 2 rules written over there. One was high risk and one was low risk. What if the both are combined together?
Yeah,
So we are going to show actually these rules are not complete. So software is going to catch that it is not complete. And it is going to tell you it is not complete.
Since these are easy rules, we are able to identify that there are some loops in, there are some problem in it. But if the rules are complex, we won't be able to identify them. Then in that case, software helps us in the identification. Okay. First feature is check for conflict. I select this icon, check for conflict. It gives me that total conflict detected is 1, and it has highlighted both the test cases, both the rules. So I modeled just the 2 rules and both are conflicting. How come? I don't know what are the actual conditions in which they are conflicting. So Corticon would help me in do that. Double click first column, then I double click second column. Both the columns were converted into 2 parts. I mentioned that age criteria is less than 35. Now Corticon knows that there could be 2 possible conditions for the age. It could be less than 35 or it could be greater than equal to 35. So depending upon these 2 conditions, age less than 35, greater than 35, whether it could be skydive or not, it has broken down internally both the rules into 2 parts. And these 2 conditions in my first rule, that if a person is skydive and age less than 35, I have mentioned the risk rating is high. And in the second rule, if a person is skydive and age less than 35, I have mentioned that he is low risk. Here, this software helped me in identifying the conflict that I have entered. I didn't use my mind or I didn't try to identify manually what are the conflicts. So I would go ahead and then remove this conflict. it would be just simple. I would say that I would like to give some background for this as well. So suppose a business analyst is modeling this rule in the studio and he says, wow, I found the software found conflict, what should I do now? Then he goes to the business users and say that you gave me just 2 business rules and they are conflicting, what should I do? And he says, might be we might have forgotten to tell you that, but if a person is skydiver, then no matter what his age is, he is always high risk rated. So what I would do, then the business analyst, business analyst has to implement that in studio, and in studio it would be very easy to implement that. I say no matter what the person's age is, he is always high risk if he is a skydiver. I say override, first rule will always override second rule no matter what the condition is. I would save the sheets and then again try to check for conflicts. It says no conflict. Software helped me in identifying the conflicts. Now second feature, which is check for completeness. As a business analyst, I discussed with the business users that we are going to automate the business decision that finding a risk and risk associated with the applicant. And they said, well, we have these 2 main rules that identify risk depending upon whether he is a skydiver or not, what is his age. I checked the completeness check and software gives me that completeness check has added 1 missing scenario. And if I hit OK, it has added that missing scenario in my rules sheet. Here, after I find that Corticon has added 1 missing scenario, business analyst might again talk to the business users and say that this is the missing scenario in the rules that you have provided me. Then the business user could say that, oh, we might have forgotten to mention that, or this is also a rule in a rule book that if a person's age is greater than 35, his risk rating is medium. Corticon helped me in identifying missing scenarios that I put in my sheet. Imagine that how complex it could be if there are, say, 200 number of rules. What are the scenarios that I am missing? Now I would write down that rule and link it to the rule number. Filling out important information 3. As you can see, these 2 are now linked. I will save the sheet now. Now I model 3rd rule as well. Now I can check for whether it is complete or not once again.
This answer your question regarding the completeness.
Okay, now completeness check. You might have missed that. Rule sheet is complete, no new rules have been added. So all the conditions are filled now. Now I would show you another feature which is compressing the rule, and in order to show you that I would add a redundant rule. Suppose I enter that if a person's age is less than 25 and I say his risk rating is low. Now you can see, because this is a simple case, you can see that rule number 2 and rule number 4 are redundant. One of them, they are duplicate. I check this compressed rule feature icon available over here, select it, Corticon automatically remove the duplicate rule. Okay. Now I will save this sheet, and now we will test these 3 rules that we have implemented. Here I have mentioned 3 test cases. Applicant 1 named Tom and his age is less than 35. This is similar to the one that we covered in previous test case. The second test case is Harry and his age is he is a skydiver. And third is a person named Bob and he is greater than 75 age. So if a person age less than 35, his risk rating is low. So in the expected output I mentioned low. For a person who skydive, his risk rating is high. So I mentioned in expected output as high. And for the third test case, Bob, his age 75, so his risk rating is medium. In the expected output I set medium. Again I would deploy my rule sheet because I have made changes into it. After deployment, I run the test case and I got output which is same as expected output and it is highlighted in black board. If I select any header, it would give me which business rule audit trail, it will give me audit trail that which business rule is executed while to execute this test case for all the 3 test cases. Okay. Now, by the way, now this, after showing all these features, I have shown you 80% of the product. This is the only interface, and this is place where business analyst could code your rule. So it's 80%, and you can sense that how easy it was for me to implement the rules over here, to test the rules here, to check completeness, and one more feature that I would like to show is logical loops. Loops are the conditions when, for example, I try to put some conditions, some complex conditions, and it happened to happen that rule 1 is calling rule 2 and rule 2 is in turn calling rule 1. So this is a looping from one rule to another, and rule 2 is generating such a conditions that it is triggering rule 1. So this is a loop, and if by mistake some business analyst or some modeler have modeled this rule, this feature would tell me that whether there are loops or not in my rule sheet. So here, basic rules, so no loops are detected. Okay. Now another feature which is natural language. Natural language is that sometimes the entities could be bit complex, the attributes could be bit complex, and the analysts could not understand it, or it might not be making sense to them. We can write the meaning of each attribute here in a plain English language term, and I would show you how. Applicant skydive, I would say that is applicant skydive, or if applicant does a dangerous activity. Applicant's age and assign risk rating of. In a plain English term, I mentioned all the attributes. I go here and say show natural language. As you can see, the conditions and the actions are in plain English term. It would be very easy for anybody to understand those attributes. Okay. Now I would like to give some real life examples. First of all is this. Let me open this first. Here. In this use case, what we tried to do was we tried to analyze how risk a person has of getting a chronic disease, depending upon the conditions that we thought that it could cause a chronic disease in a person. For example, whether he is overweight or not, whether he is a male, because gender criteria is also a main factor, his age, whether he does physical activity or not, and whether the relatives has any such disease or not. So depending upon all these conditions, we modeled in our rule sheet, and what we did was we tried to model using all the permutations and combinations, and there came out to be 192 rules. This is what we modeled. Now I would show you how compress rule feature comes handy. Select this feature. Now you can here see from 192 rules to just 77 rules. It compressed the duplicate rules, or it compressed the rules in such a way that they are now written in more optimized way and they are now more manageable. It would be hard for me to manage 192 rules, but it would be very easy for me to manage, or bit easier for me to manage 77 rules. It compressed just 192 into 77. You can imagine how it would be helpful in compressing, or it would optimize a rule sheet with 2000 rules. Okay. Now another example.
Excuse me. If like someone like auditor or someone comes to me and he asks me to give me a report of all the rules which are incorporated over there. There is a report, any report which can give me all the rules and their logical reasons.
No, all the rules are defined right there
In the
interface.
See, if my I have built some rules for accounting module. Okay. My internal auditor comes and he asks me to give me a set of all the rules in a form of a report which your system is having. Is there any report over there?
Or documentation?
I mean, you can generate the report out of the rule sheet by writing your own reporting, sending the data to your reporting system.
The thing is,
But all the rules are defined in terms of the rule
Yeah,
statement.
basically they are just like business analysts actually. Your auditors are just like
my auditors will be just like auditors from CAG.
Yeah.
They will
They will
understand
be able to
English language
understand
only.
the whole interface. It's just a matter of half a day that somebody can explain them how it works.
Some printable
Some
formats.
printable forms
Printable
forward to
format,
add.
yes.
You can just
Select it actually.
copy and paste it from here itself. It's just like an Excel interface, and all the rule statements are there in natural language, which are written down below in the lowest frame, and you can just pick that up and paste it anywhere and showcase to the auditor that these are all my rules.
The point of having this easy interface is that you don't need to deal with many type of software systems. I mean, if it involves a reporting system or some other ODBC system or other sending integration system, then again it will become a very complex system. Idea is that everything should be in front of you in like one screen, and you should see all the rules, all the actions, all the statements at one place, at one screen. Just scroll up and down, left and right, and see everything is there. That's the idea behind it. But if you still wanted to draw the data out of your system to some other system, you have all the data is in front of you.
I
Like,
saw that part at a later stage. I wanted to have a consolidated report where all my rules are.
Yeah, basically the software will not provide, but it is possible to bring the report. You can bring the report, but software will not allow to print the report.
this does not have any reporting feature. This does not have any other type of. It is basically just to enable your decision services. So it's just basically.
But report can be taken out.
Report can be taken out of this in any other format or any other way you
No,
want.
it's not a big deal actually.
But this is mostly for just for the decision service.
But imagine if you're coding it, isn't it more difficult then?
Correct.
If you're coding the rules, and you want to do an audit trail.
That is good. That part accepted. It is good.
Yeah, you have the flexibility here. You have the complete flexibility.
I can do anything over there.
Yeah.
But what the thing is, I want to have a consolidated thing with me to show it to somebody. Okay, first of all, you see it in the form of a report, signed report.
Absolutely, you can have it actually. That's not a big deal actually. You could have it. But the main purpose of the whole application is different actually. Reporting is not here actually. It's not part of the system. But yes, you can have the report if it's a requirement. It's not a big issue. Sorry?
Yeah, in rule sheet and report, there are options that you can generate report for the rule
But it's
sheet.
not a very
But, yeah.
kind of any formatted sort of report where you have a lot
You have it in
of situation like you can define what fields you want, what you don't want, and all that things.
You have it in report.
Yeah.
So it is a very simple, just listing all the things in.
Yeah, in there you have conditions, and then there you have fields.
So you can keep that. Yeah, we can see.
Yeah.
all the rule numbers.
It's pretty much listed. Everything is coded in there. Yeah. It's not created a structured sort of thing for you, but it's put everything at one place, whatever you have defined.
Okay. Now next real life example. This is the sample we have taken from a live insurance company, and that insurance company identifies their final risk, a person's risk, depending upon their medical history risk, and then their height, weight risk, like whether that person, how healthy that person is, and then these two rule sheets would combine to make a final rule sheet. This is rule flow, and we make it just by dragging and dropping the rule sheets over here, okay, and then linking with just the connectors. This is the rule flow, and coming to the medical history rule sheet, these are all the different conditions, criteria that would help the company identify risk associated to that person, his cholesterol level and stuff like that. And here are, in 5 columns, are all the conditions that using which I identify what are the risks associated to that person. By the way, these 5 rules are from the rule book, customer's rule book, which is 200 pages big. Business analyst model those business rules over here and then use the feature compress rule, and it compressed it into 5 rules, just 5 rules. Now I will show you another feature, which is check for completeness. Check for completeness. It says completeness check has added around 5 million missing scenarios, and these scenarios have been compressed into 18 non-overlapping columns, and these 5 million scenarios are all the possible permutations, combinations available depending upon the conditions that I mentioned in 5 columns. But those 5 million scenarios could be combined into these 18 rules. And for example, this rule 6. As a rule model, I identified that these are the scenarios that they are missing in the rule sheet, and we go and talk to business users, and they say, oh, by law, if a person's cholesterol level is greater than 280, we say that risk, then the risk associated with that person is standard or not qualified or anything else. But this is the scenario that they forgot to tell to us, or they forgot to specify in the specification document. Here, Corticon helped us in identifying that these are the missing scenarios that you forgot, and you should write for better. This is an automation. You should better write all the values corresponding to these scenarios. Okay. Now the last use case. Prabhu will give some context for that.
Yeah, so I mean, we have so far seen that you create the rule sheet and how you define the rule, how you model the rule, how you test the rule. How actually the data goes on the live system. We have created a quick and dirty application where we have just taken an example of a retail word, festival sales, holiday sales. You have all of that defined, and then suddenly you want to define totally unplanned, promotions, and although your software might be taking care of it, but if you're doing through the Corticon, how quickly and how easily it can be done in a fraction of minutes, and how you can deploy it. So just wanted to give a quick glimpse how it works with this situation with a particular application. So this is the background.
Yeah. Over here, this is all the promotion codes that I am implementing in my e-commerce rule sheet. And these 5 are existing promotions that are in my system. Winter sale, summer sale, festival sale, giving 15% discount if someone registers their email ID, so that I can send some information about new products, new promotions to them. And I'm giving 70% off to that material that is not moving at all, which is like kind of out of fashion. Now, I got information from one of my sources that my competitor is giving discount, weekend discount in coming weekend. Suppose for today, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, they are giving discount. And I want to add that discount as well in my system. How easy it is using Corticon, I will show you. And for this, at the same time, I want to add another promotion in my system that gives 50% discount to slow moving material. Fashion these days changes very frequently. Suppose as my existing rule says give discount if the material is more than 2 years old. Now I want to add one more scenario that if material is even a year older, then I want to like to give 50% discount to that material. So I would show you how I would enter these rules in this rule sheet and how easy it would be for me to publish this new rule sheet and then use it in the site. Rule corresponding discount, mapping, second, we can save, and I would enter today's date as well so that effect could be seen as of today. 7, 15, 3, 5.
Date format has not been changed yet.
Here I have modeled my business rule, and if I would have modeled it in a wrong way or some syntax error would be there, Corticon would have highlighted in red. I can show you how it would have highlighted in red. Suppose I do some, oh, it has automatically edited syntax as well. Okay, now I entered the discount 30% off and link to the rule statement. Both the rules are linked. Save the sheet. I would open site. Yeah. This is the site, and in the existing site for my particular category or subcategory, this is existing items available in my system, and for just 2 products, current discount is available. I would open rule flow, where I would publish it. This is simple rule flow sheet as I have shown you earlier. Right click, publish. Or test the connection, it's successful. Select the decision service name which I want to deploy. Select republish because I have already published this decision service. Finish, it says decision service has been successfully published. I would come back to my site, refresh, again browse here. All the discount are available now. Over to you.
Thank you, Harsha. So now I would like to invite Basil for discussing some of the case studies. We're quickly going to touch base on a few of the major case studies, and after that we'll invite them to conclude the system. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Basil. I'm from Singapore. Today I reached this morning, and now I'm between you and dinner. So 15 minutes, right? Maximum 15 minutes, right? Today I learned something new. I learned that there's a place hotter in Singapore. Right? I thought Singapore was hottest, but today was really hot. 2 things, okay? 2 things in my life. I want to share with you 2 things, right? I only have 2 things. One is begin, B-E-G-I-N. With Hasa, begin. What is begin? Right? Begin to use Corticon? No, it's not begin. It's Basil, Elizabeth, Gabriel, Ian, and Nathan. Okay? That's me, my wife, my 3 kids, right? Basil, Elizabeth, Gabriel, Ian, Hinton, begin, right? And my kids are born in 9/19, 30th of September, right? December is a good month, that's why, right? So that's my family. The other thing I want to share with you all is Corticon. Of course, Corticon, right? I eat, breathe, and sleep Corticon, right? But I would like to think that I'm a very honest salesperson, right? I just came on board 3 months ago, okay? Yeah, so these guys, JK Tech, they are way here before me, right? I've spoken to them, they know what I mean. That's why I'm very confident that they are the best people for you, right? Better than me, okay? So, without further ado, okay, let me share with you some use cases, okay? Next slide, yeah, sorry. Sorry by the way, I'm responsible for Corticon sales in the region, in Asia, okay? Okay, so, this is the next one, right? Okay, so these are some of the customers we have globally. Okay, I won't share all of them, okay, with you. Maybe just one, which is eBay, okay, because it's so sweet, it's very good win for us. Okay, what you can do if you want to know more, you can go to www.progress.com/customers. Okay, these are all customers there. Case studies are there. Okay, you can filter it down by on the here. You can filter by the products and by the industries. Okay, and then there'll be beautiful printouts. You can read all about it. Okay, so what I'll quickly do is I'll just share a bit about eBay. Now eBay, so what eBay wants to do? eBay is e-commerce, right? But what is very key for them? Customer loyalty. Okay, increase business. Why? Because 80% of business comes from 20% of their customers. And they want to increase. So how do we have customer loyalty? Reliability, and now performance as well. Why performance? Because now when you click something, it has to be microseconds, milliseconds you have to respond. Right? That is why performance. Okay, that's how we beat the other competitor, which is IBM. Okay, we went to a real case and right down to bolts and nuts. Right? They want to be able to generate the results very fast. Now what do? It's only one portion. E-commerce is so big. This is just one portion, the escrow portion. Okay, what eBay uses us to do is they do an escrow portion, means they are a third party. Okay, the third party between the buyer and the seller, they put themselves as third party. Okay, so when you buy something, okay, you click to buy it before the money is released to them. When you click and buy, you key in your MasterCard or whatever, or your Visa card number, before the money is released to them, eBay will ensure that you get the goods in good condition before they release the money to them. Okay, because if it's not, eBay will refund you the money. Okay, and that's very important. They have about 140 million, 150 and above to 200 million transactions per day. And each transaction, they have thousands of rules. So you can imagine it's really mind-boggling. Okay, that's why. Okay, that's why the DT war. Okay, yeah, which I think I was mentioning earlier. Yeah, that's why it's so important. Okay, because we don't have the RETI war restriction which the other competitors have. Ours is the DETI, patented algorithm. Okay, so that is very key. Okay, in how why eBay chose to use us, right? Very quickly. Okay, instead of sharing about the other, other case studies which are there, I'm going to share with you 2 things which I'm working on right now. Okay, ever since I've been involved for 3 months, okay, I have so many inquiries. Okay, to be frank, largely from Hong Kong, Singapore, Indonesia, and now India as well. It's coming up a lot. Okay, where do they come from? Out of 10, 6 or 7 comes from the insurance and e-commerce. Okay, so this is particular one e-commerce vendor. Why they're calling us and asking us to help them? Because number one, they don't want to lose out to their competitors. They cannot afford to lose out to the competitors who are able to change faster. Like just not what they show you, right? So they have this e-commerce vendor. They have 10 levels of commissions, remuneration scheme. They are something like a multi-level, right? Very complicated. Okay. And as they have more and more products coming in to sell, more and more people want to sell them across more and more different countries. Very complicated. Okay, and if you want to sell something, you can't just go and sell. You need to have someone to recommend you in, so that you get a certain percentage from the guy gets a certain percentage of. So that's why it's complicated, right? And that's why they are talking to us. Okay. And so, but the product cataloging process as well. I believe just now they will share with you. So I won't talk so much about it, but it's very hot now. It's about 4th round. I'm talking to them now. Okay. I'll share more. Hopefully next time I can see you again. I can tell you it's a success story. Now it's still not. It's still in the works. Something I'm working on. Okay. It's in Hong Kong already. Another one is the insurance broker. Yeah, it's a modifying of the policies. Sorry. You can see here, yeah. It's the same thing. Because why? Because yeah, some of them they outsource. Okay, and every time when you change a policy, they got outsourcing change, right? And insurance policy, like recently now, when there's a like just now you rightly point out, it's very painful for them to change, right? But recently the case like MERS came on board, right? The virus, and and they have to change the policy again, tweak it, and they find it very painful. So they're toying about this idea about changing once and for all. Right? So that next time subsequently there's any rules to change, it'll be easier. That's what we are doing for them. Okay? And that's all. Okay, that's all I have to share with you. Okay, I hope two things. Begin to use your Corticon. No. Begin and then Corticon, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.